So hello folks, welcome back to my comments on your class. I'm giving feedback here for lesson 2 of module 1 and then also looking ahead to the illustration essay which is due in lesson 4. That's noon on September the 15th, not 11:59 like maybe you're used to at in other classes. The outline for it's due on September the 8th, also at noon. So I'll give you some feedback on the outlines before, but I want to give you some kind of heads up about some things right now. But let me start with the thesis statement assignment, the things that I saw there. As I said last time, I would give credit for, just something that looked really similar to what was in the class, but that wasn't really very effective. And so if I put limited thesis / topic sentences, but will give credit, it means that you followed the model, but it would not make a really successful essay. And because the statements that you've got, either the thesis is not really arguable, or the topic sentence are just kind of statements of fact, and they're not really linked to the thesis very well. So you might compare notes in your class with people who didn't get that limited thesis kind of comment and see what's different. The big way to fix it, though, is just to make sure that your topic sentence contains some reference to the topic that's in your thesis and also the direction that's in your thesis. So thinking about it, like, how does I like my job relate to whatever your thesis was? You need to make that a lot more clear, because that's just a statement of fact right now. Illustration essays are supposed to illustrate something. They're supposed to give examples of ways that your thesis is true. So some examples of how to use this in real life. Just you might have a history paper where you're going to show examples of, say, that World War II accelerated some already shifting notions of women's place in society. Or you might have an educational psychology paper where you're showing ways that our growth mindset improves educational achievement for students, stuff like that. So it's useful in a lot of ways. It's often actually pretty useful in essay exams, like for a final exam or something like that. But both of these examples I just gave you are arguable. Somebody could reasonably conclude from the same evidence you're looking at that those interpretations are not as good as maybe their interpretation. And so there can be a conversation about this. It's not just, and I know that's really hard for freshmen because you always want to be right. And so just you have to kind of let go of that a little bit and be able to take a stand on something and show it reasonably, but also be aware that other people might disagree, and that's okay, as long as you are doing your part to show how your thesis is true. So both of these things that I just gave you, like, they would need topic sentences with those examples. So let me see here. I have an example I wrote down. So for the history paper, maybe each topic sentence needs to include some word that reminds us about your main point. It can be really mechanical, like one effect of a growth mindset is blah, blah, blah. Maybe that students are more likely to practice rather than just giving up when things get hard. Or you could also use some kind of a keyword that shows the direction, that shows your opinion. So maybe something like women's roles expanded as they moved into the workforce to fill jobs formerly done by men. So the keyword there would be expanded. And that gives a link back to your thesis and the point that you're trying to make. So that's other observations that I had about this assignment. Just proofread. I saw run-ons, I saw comma splices, stray capitalizations, missing periods. That should never happen in anything you submit for college. Some of those are just, carelessness, but some of them maybe you often do it. Go ahead and start keeping a log of that kind of stuff. Like what the error is it a run-on or whatever, your explanation in your own words about how to spot it, how to correct it, and then a note maybe reminding yourself what to look for as you start targeting that error. So that's one thing you can do. And then the other one was just follow assignment instructions. Like, I didn't need the labels from the example, like topic and opinion about the topic in parentheses. I didn't take off for it, but you should just start practicing turning these things in as if they were real, at least, or as if they were in an essay that you're doing. But submissions that were like a whole paragraph where, or things that split the thesis into more than one sentence, those did lose points. So looking ahead now, the illustration essay. It's personal experience, so I is fine. You is not, though, because what often happens with you is then you're trying to figure out maybe how to conclude it, and you want someone to take inspiration from your experience or something like that. You don't need to do that. Just keep it I and what you know and your reflections, and that should be fine. Be sure to follow MLA formatting. And I've got some videos in your course walking you through what that should look like. I'll show you kind of where all that is in a minute. Google Docs users, you probably, which is probably most of you, should probably use a PDF so it locks in your formatting for you. And I'd really rename your file, the final one that you're getting ready to submit, so that you know absolutely for sure that that is what you're submitting. So it's not something goofy like a blank document or something. For the prompts that are in the course right now, unless you schedule a conference with me and you get my permission to do something else, you need to stick to those topics. They're not exciting, but it's better if you do them. And I would say for these, try to stick to a single event. So I know that there are a couple that say you can choose 3 different events in that first prompt, or maybe 3 different family members for memorable stuff. The problem with it is those usually are so far apart, and it's really hard to tie them together. And so they're just really vague and unfocused essays, so they won't be that successful. And also you're trying to say too much in a really small scope, and so you end up not saying very much at all because you just kind of skim the surface on all those things. Even if you're doing a single event, though, make sure all the points have something in common besides love or appreciating life or being memorable. They need to answer 2 questions. Why are these examples significant to your point? Like, how do they prove it? And then, so what? Why does this experience matter enough for you to share with us in this essay? So keep that in mind. I say us because I'm not going to read your drafts before you submit them for real, because life is just way too short. I'm sorry, but I will read them very carefully and I'll give you feedback on them when I get them. However, you have a classroom full of people sitting with you doing the same work. So I'm going to share. I hope that you'll share with each other, maybe get some drafts together early and talk to each other. I think you have an opportunity to do a little bit of that work in the next module with your outline. So, but I'm going to put something into the course. In fact, I have now, and I'll show you where it is here in a second. It's an essay by Richard Straub. And so I use it in my face-to-face classes. Let me go over to there now, and I'll just share where that is so that you can see it. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, okay, so this is what you're seeing. So as you scroll down here, this folder, it says Professor Down, Alternate Readings and Resources. Open it up. The Richard Straub essay that I'm talking about is right here. And then the MLA formatting is right here. I've actually got, this is a playlist to my YouTube, and it's got all these different kinds. Like I made one for each kind of possible permutation that I knew about, including even Apple Pages. So what I have to say about this Richard Straub essay is that peer response only works if you're willing to say more than it's good, and because you don't want to upset somebody. But real friends are honest. And if you don't quite know what you're looking for, Richard Straub can help you with that as well if you read this, or how you should sound. You're not a teacher, you're not a cruise missile, he says. So it gives you an idea of what to say that will be helpful, and some guidelines about what to say that will be helpful. Actually, let me shut this back off because you don't need it anymore. So the other thing that he talks about is respecting the writer, that your job is not to fix someone else's work. Your job is to play, how you are personally receiving the essay, like how it's playing for you, so that the writer can decide, is that the effect that I wanted or is it not? And if it's not, then maybe you can ask them the best way to respect the writer there and not try to just say, well, fix this and this and this, is to be really specific about what works and what doesn't so that they can see that, and then maybe ask questions, because questions are a really good way to help anyone, yourself or someone else, invent material or rework stuff that you're working on. So that's an option that you have that I hope that you will do. And then also, because you're a Gateway student as well as a high school student, you can work with our Gateway tutors, and they're not just going to read it and tell you what to fix, even like I'm not going to either, but they'll work with you, and I think the conversation that you have with a tutor, you make a lot more progress with your own writing, because you're talking about your choices and you're thinking through different options and maybe getting some help spotting those things that are problems for you so that you can start taking care of them yourself. Let me go back. Sorry, I'm going to go back over there and show you where the tutoring stuff is too. I thought I'd already done that, but nope. So at the very top of your courses, student support and resources page, there's Brain Fuse, which is online tutoring that I think, I don't know how it works now. You have to scroll down now because everything was loading. Scroll. Okay, so Brain Fuse is here, but our Gateway tutors that are live tutors are here. So I haven't used Brain Fuse in a long time. I don't really remember what it's about. It may be that you turn in a paper and get some written feedback on it if you do it soon enough, so you can try that. But I would definitely click into the tutoring page. If I click through into it, you have the tutoring schedule, and then also you have, I think down here at the bottom, oh, there's a chat. So you can chat when they're online, and you can also ask questions. But anyway, I would get in touch with the English tutors. They're all really good, and I highly recommend them. So now let me get out of this. And what else do I need to say to you? Oh, late work. So there's a 10% penalty if it's submitted prior to November 30th. Like, that's your cutoff date, is November 30th. So for quizzes especially, I saw a couple that were zeros in there. People hadn't done them yet. You might have to tell me that it's there because I may not see it, because quizzes grade kind of by themselves, but once that zero's in there, someone has to actually go and swap it out. And so I'll do that. I'll adjust the grade so that it's 10% of whatever points you were. For something that's 20 points, it's 2 points. So that's not to say that you should turn everything in late or something, but anyway, so just if you don't see something change after like a week, then just feel free to ping me. Send me an email, ask about it. And maybe I just didn't see it, or maybe I just had 5,000 emails in my box that day, and yours, I just didn't notice it. So I think that's it, actually. So have a great holiday weekend. Enjoy Module 3. Or not Module 3, gosh, Lesson 3. Enjoy Module 3 when you get there. So enjoy Lesson 3 and 4, working on the illustration essay. It is a really good foundation for you as you go into whatever you're going to do academically. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you again soon, I hope. Thanks.